Hey, it's Gabriel, and I wanted to talk about trauma. Trauma is my specialty, and so it's really important that I put out there at least the beginning kind of concept of when I'm working with trauma. What does that feel like when you're working with me? I'm a trauma survivor. Now, this is your therapy, and I'm not going to go into mine, but I've done the work. I've worked with therapists, I've spent many years working out the basic details of the narration that I tell myself about how I'm affected by my trauma. And I use that experientially with you. For me, getting into your trauma and getting to a point where you can just talk about it and it no longer affects you, you no longer dissociate, it no longer causes you any nightmares, and you begin to accept certain aspects that this is part of the rich tapestry of myself and I am okay and that I am strong. That's trauma work. That's what we're going to do. A good place to start is in acceptance. Something bad happened, whether it was something that was acute. And when I say acute, I mean recent and one time. I was in a car accident and now I struggle to get into a car. Or it was something chronic or longitudinal where for most of my childhood I was abused by somebody. Both of those are trauma. And it's the acceptance part that something has changed and I no longer feel good. Just getting to that point and taking a look at it. Now, the next part, we're going to go over to the whiteboard because I want to talk about how to go into the trauma but not do it in a way that you dysregulate or that it feels painful. So let's go ahead and go. Okay, so the thing that I want to talk about is basically something that I actually learned in a yoga class, but I'm going to apply it here because then I saw it actually come up when I was working at the Veteran Affairs from one of the clients teaching me, but they were using it from a therapy session that they had gone to, so I realized it has multiple applications, but we're going to look at it like this. We have three stages or three rings, right? And you have your ring of comfort. That's where most of us are just going to sit. You have your ring of stretch. That's where we're going to go. And you have your ring of pain. And that's a ring that we all try to avoid. Now, in yoga, your comfort level is not doing yoga. It's not doing anything. You just stay there, nothing changes. With trauma, it's the same thing. If you just stay in this place, then nothing changes. But you're here with me now, and we're working on this stuff. So clearly, we're going to go to the next level, and that's stretching. That's yoga in a nutshell, and that's also trauma work. You have to stretch a little bit. You have to go into it, but don't go all the way in. This isn't all out. It's not a competition. And so if, for example, you're struggling with old trauma where abuse was the thing, and you avoid situations where people argue and it becomes something that dysregulates you, you need to work on that because people do shout, right? And you know this. So getting into situations where you're stretching it may just be something as simple as just openly talking about it and talking about it in a way where it bothers you a little bit, but not bothers you all the way. Because if it bothers you all the way, then we've gone into pain. And that's where we can have a freak out moment. That's where we can go into places of significant depression or places of um, really bad negativistic thinking, stuff like that. So we don't want to go to the place where we cause pain, because if we cause pain, then we actually can't do the exercise because now we need to heal. Okay? Let's go ahead and go back. So when we're talking together, it's going to be that work where we're going to come out of the comfort zone, go into the stretch space where the work actually happens, but not go so far as we go into pain. And if we go into the pain part, then we talk about how do we get there and how do we make sure that we go into it in a way where we work up to it, we work to that exercise. Because the same way in yoga or any type of exercise, if you stretch long enough and you work at it, then the pain part never actually becomes so significant and it actually reduces. Like what you can do with your mind and what you can do with your body requires there to be training to get there, but we have to do the training to get there, and that's the work that we're going to do with each other. Lastly, I do want to say that the pain that we experience from our trauma is our strength. It is something that is unique to us, but it's also something that makes survivors out of us. So I'm not saying that the pain is bad. I'm just saying that when we're working on going in, the pain that I'm talking about is the stuff that dysregulates us or causes us to dissociate or makes it so that we have nightmares. That's what we don't want to do. It's the survival. It's the way that we approach the world from the pain. That's the part where it's actually exercise. And we may call it painful, but it's more of a pain that's similar to nostalgia, where we can look back on a really horrible time, but we can now see the benefits of it, even though maybe an outside observer would be like, that was a horrible experience. You could say, well, now that I've survived through it, it makes me approach the world in a different way. That's, again, part of the work that we're going to do. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. Go ahead and subscribe. And if you liked what I was talking about, hit the like button. Go ahead and message me in the comments if you like, or reach out to me direct message. Reach out to me at my website, allrisetogethertherapy.com. That's allrisetogethertherapy.com. Sincerest gratitude. Thank you so much.